Okie dokie, let's see here. Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Christopher. Hello, Mr. Key 656. How's it going, everyone? Let me know. Hello, Miss Geek. Hello, Juan. I hope that's how I pronounce your name. If not, I apologize. Can everyone hear me all right? Let me know if you can hear me. Just say something in the chat if you can hear me. Hello, Practical Deduction. Practical Deduction, you now have moderating powers. All right, so everyone, just so you know, Practical Deduction is going to be moderating the chat. Hello, everyone. Thank you for saying that I'm awesome. How do I do? I do well. So good to see you all here today. Can you all hear me? Is the audio good? Okay, awesome. Oh, you know, it's going. Happy Labor Day for all of you in the United States of America. All right, so today we're basically going to be doing a Q&A, and maybe if one of you wants to come on, we can do a live deduction demonstration where I actually get one of you on the stream, and then you let me make some deductions about you. So if you're cool with that, then stick around for a while, and we'll see. Who would be better at deduction, Batman or Sherlock Holmes? Well, I've been kind of disappointed with the with Batman and how he's portrayed as a detective. I don't think it gives. I don't think there's a lot of weight to his title as the world's greatest detective. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Batman and everything, but I don't think that title is appropriate for him. For most of the writers that write for him, you know, sometimes he's written as a really good detective, which is great, but usually he's just Googling stuff, basically on his supercomputer. So, you know, definitely Sherlock Holmes. Yes, we will do the live deduction, just not right now. Let's start with some questions. So does anyone have some questions about me, deduction, anything like that? Hello, everyone that's coming in. Have I seen House? No, I haven't. I mean, well, I've seen a few episodes, but I haven't like watched the show faithfully, and it's been a while. But it's pretty good. Yeah, I actually Sharon Ford Holmes. Now he's going by the name Cognitive Psychology, something like that. He just changed his name. But anyway, he sent me a link to that video of why Sherlock is the worst show ever. It's like an hour long or something, so I didn't stick with it for that long. But let me know if it was worth it. What would be the ultimate deduction book I would recommend? See, I'm big into the idea that you shouldn't focus on just one source of information. If there is a good book out there, which there are, you know, that should not be the one book that supersedes all the others. I think every book written about deduction that is a good one has various elements that they bring to the table that are new and different. And all these things are relevant to deduction. So to say that one is the ultimate book on deduction would be, I think it would be unfair. So in my mind, like Maria Konikova's book, Mastermind: How to Think Like Sherlock Holmes, is a great book to get started with because it teaches you the psychology, how the brain works, and how you can apply that to deduction. Whereas Ben Cardall's book is a good the monographs is a great book to start after you've read that book, because yes, he does get into the mindset and the methodology and all that of deduction, but he starts off kind of more with the technique, which is great, and it is a very good comprehensive guide, and I'm a huge fan of his work, and actually I just ordered his new DVD training series, Pipes, Problems, and Reading People. That was like $133. So I'm gonna uh, go through that and do a review on that. But I'm a big fan of his work, needless to say. But you know, take things with the knowledge that there's always something more to be added. Okay. How much do I train? Well, it all depends. I try and do some visual memory technique training exercises every day. Um, and, I always try and piece things together and make deduction a habit as much as I can. So just going out and seeing people is part of my training. And, sometimes I do it more than others, depending on, how busy I am with other things, or, um, how I'm feeling. There have been some points in my career which I haven't trained as much as I should have, and so you do have to keep with it, and training is very important. How long have I been doing deductions? It's been about 4 years. All right. Um, what indicators for information do you use on people who are wearing little clothes, or typical indicators such as long sleeves, pants, rings, coats, etc.? So when it comes to if a person is not wearing much clothes at all, like say for instance you see a guy, he's got no shirt on and he's in shorts, and it's a hot day and that's all he's wearing pretty much. You can deduce a lot of different things. You don't need clothes and the indicators left on clothes to be able to deduce things. Things that would be left on clothes if a person is not wearing much, like is not wearing a shirt, they're going to be left on the person's body instead. So like marks and things left from materials that they've come in contact with will be left, instead of on like a shirt, will be left on their chest and body. So same kind of approach. If a person's like, if you go to the beach and a person's not wearing a shirt, you can actually see more of the tan lines and stuff. So that sometimes gets covered up a lot with shirts. You can't always determine where the tan lines are depending on how long the sleeves are, things like that. As far as clothes go, big indicators on those would be, sorry, my cat, would be economic status, social status, things like that. Personality, even interests. We went over this in the last video. So, gauge the age, wear, and tear on the clothes, as well as the expense of the clothes. Are you really going to meow while I'm in a live stream? Come on. You're so needy. So needy. Anyway, so that's kind of what you need to look for with clothes. Oh yes, Miss Geek, I do remember you. You were from the last live stream. You wanted to come onto the live stream, um, and do the memory demonstration with me. I noticed that you changed your name, but the profile picture is still the same. So that's basically the indicators for clothing. And how did I get into deduction? I've answered this in another live stream, but basically it's just I wanted to be able to help people. So, and this seems like a very useful skill to be able to do that if applied correctly. I actually turned 18 a few days ago, the 29th, so no longer 17. What is my most impressive deduction? Sorry, I'm like trying to keep up with your questions, guys. What is my most impressive deduction? So I can't think of like the most impressive deduction that I've made, but I was actually thinking about this question the other day while I was making a deduction that I was actually quite proud of myself for making. So we'll go into this. So I was at Publix, and I was in the self checkout counter area, and there was this guy. He was middle aged, bit heavy set. He had a polo shirt, a blue polo shirt that looked nice, looked decent, comfortable material, and khaki dress pants that had smudges on them, probably either from oil or rubber, and the shirt was kind of half untucked. So it was obvious that he had gone to wherever he'd gone with that day with the intent of not doing much work, given his attire, but also given what had happened to his clothes, he ended up doing some work. But what was interesting was not necessarily his clothing. What I was paying attention to more was his mannerisms, and this was what was interesting. He had a six-pack of beer in the seat of the cart, where you put kids in, and he was kind of just looking around anxiously. He was in the middle of the self checkout center, so he wasn't actually checking himself out. So he was waiting for someone, probably management, which or customer service, which he was, and he was basically looking around anxiously. He obviously had a rough day, and he just started. He started messing around with the bottle of beer, and it was very clear to me that he definitely wanted to get that into his system as quickly as possible, but there was something in the way, probably monetary, and that was later confirmed when the customer service lady came in, started talking to him about like their policies or something. I didn't quite hear it all, and I had to leave shortly thereafter. So, but it was a very interesting deduction, and it was just not necessarily impressive, but it was just out of the ordinary from what I'm used to noticing. And you don't usually see it all like that. So, do I know of any websites closely resembling the science of deduction or anything with resources and studies relating to deduction? There are some, yes. I don't know the names of them. I don't really look into them. I actually kind of started this channel because of the lack of things on the internet to help people with deduction. So they are out there, and if I can find them later, I will put them in the description. Do I observe and deduce things from people I first meet? Yes. That's usually what I try to do before I talk to them. Once you're starting to talk to a person, it's a little bit more difficult to actually get the information out of from observation, because you're focusing on maintaining a conversation. So, as much as I can, I try and make deductions before I have to engage in conversation. Any tips for making deductions about injuries and what causes them? So, injuries are tricky. But if you know anatomy and physiology, it does help a lot. If you know how these systems work, you can better understand why they fail. So, read up on that. Crash Course has a great selection of videos. They did the whole course on anatomy and physiology, which was great to help me pass that class, actually. Other than that, if we're just talking about abrasions on the skin, look at the depth of the abrasions, the patterns, are they random? Random patterns of small cuts on the arm usually coincides with like outdoor work where branches or thorns are cutting you while you're doing yard work or something. That's usually what that means. So it all depends. I'll probably make a video cataloging different injuries and what they generally mean. But just as a general rule, figure out, just think about and deconstruct the angle of the abrasion and the length of it, and kind of cross-reference what sort of thing could do that. So, and more serious injuries like limbs, bones breaking, stuff like that. It's better to know anatomy to help you with that. I'm actually taking this semester off to study for CLEP testing. So this semester I don't have school. Could you do a video about genetic marks through generations? Yes. Okay, so different phenotypes, which are genetic features of a person that are visible. So like skin tone, eye color, widow's peak, right there. Earlobes being attached or not, nose, just anything that you can really see about a person. So not the internal genetic aspects; those are phenotypes. And so you can see family resemblances. While this isn't an exact science, obviously, combining the circumstantial evidence of two people being around each other and acting as if they are closely related, and also looking closely related, that's you can pretty well determine family relations. Is this a father and son relationship or a brother and brother relationship? Depending on the differentiation in age, and the similarity in facial features. That's so not surefire way, but yes, I will try and do a video on that soon. Yes, you can send me a photograph. I haven't finished all the pictures that people have sent me to deduce yet. I'm planning on just doing a whole bunch of videos on that and then uploading them back to back. So if you want to email me a picture for me to deduce, send it to theartofdeductivereasoning@gmail.com. It'll be linked in the description later. Oh, thank you for the happy birthday witches. Okay. What is the most challenging part of deduction? Well, it really depends on who you are. For me, it's always been observation, because I've always kind of been used to being stuck in my head and thinking about things and deconstructing abstract concepts and things like that. It's more the application in the real world through observation that has always been my snagging point. So a lot of my training focuses more on the observation than the logical aspect of it. But I do a lot of training in logic and reasoning and knowledge base as well. So it really depends on who you are, what your upbringing is, things like that. It would be interesting to see, people who start training deduction as children and see if there are any common patterns between what they find to be the most difficult. But in general, for people who start once you've already developed as a person, it all depends on who you are, whether it's into your knowledge base that you need to work on most, or your logical faculties, or your observation skills. For me, it's observation. Thank you, Hannah, on the mug. It's a pretty cool mug. It's if you were here earlier in the stream, it fully showed I am Sherlock, but it's a heat sensitive mug. So basically, as you drink your beverage, it and it gets cooler up here and it's still hot down here, it kind of fades away. So it's pretty cool. So once you're done drinking, it looks like I am locked instead of I am Sherlock. What deductions am I planning to do on stream? Some basic stuff. I don't want to get too revealing for people, and if you do want to come on the stream and let me make deductions about you, do bear in mind that you are kind of putting the potential of some of your privacy out onto the internet. So bear that in mind. If you're okay with that, I promise I will try and make sure that the deductions that I reveal are not super personal ones, more general stuff, but do keep that in mind. Who's better detective, L or Near? Definitely L. Definitely L. And that's not me being super critical. That's just the age differentials. I mean, Near is still a kid. His frontal lobe isn't fully developed. Was a fully developed man in his prime, whose brain was at its peak. I mean, plus the experience, L was pretty close to catching light as well. So, and Near could only do it with the help of the other L wannabe protege, whatever. It's been a while since I watched the show. Myth. Someone says they have a deduction site. That's link it if you want. All right, just kind of skimming through things now. How long do you have to look at a person before you can make correct deductions? It depends, and it also depends on both the person and the deduction that you're trying to make. So it could be, and also it depends on how good you are at task switching. So if your mind is already on a problem or something that you're thinking about, and then you shift your attention to trying to make deductions about someone just to try and force yourself to train and everything, then you're probably going to find it takes longer to look at them while your brain starts switching into gear from thinking about whatever you were thinking about to thinking about the person. But it depends on your level of training and the person. Basically, I bet you guys are finding a pattern here. A lot of the questions, it all depends, and that's the beautiful thing about this is that it's about nuance, and things aren't surefire. There are general principles that apply, but as a rule of thumb, you have to be ingenuitive and adaptable and figure out how these general principles apply to the situations that you're in. That one was for free. Greetings from Argentina. Lovely. Is the weather nice down there? How do you know the difference between speculation and deduction? That's a good one. Where does the line get drawn? Okay, so with speculation, here's basically how it goes. You see something about a person, and then you start trying to figure out what that one thing means, and base your entire theory off of that. That's pretty much speculation. There's no way of checking it because one piece of data could mean a lot of different things, and you're just kind of going off of it feels like it's this. Whereas deduction is you have multiple pieces of data, you see how they interact together, then you cross-reference those pieces of data with prior confirmed and stored data in your mind, so your knowledge base, and then you start to determine what the combinations of these pieces of data and what they would entail. So basically, you take a series of observations, a series of data, and you figure out what possibilities line up with all those pieces of data. This is the application of abductive reasoning, and that's this part of the process. So you kind of figure out, based on the inclusion of data, what things get eliminated, what possibilities are eliminated. So then you basically take those theories that you make from the after you've eliminated impossible theories, because a theory that fits with one piece of data but not another, if those two pieces of data are connected, then that theory is by default impossible. So this is what Sherlock Holmes means when he says eliminate the impossible and see what remains, however improbable. So then we use deductive reasoning after we've used abductive reasoning to cross-reference these theories by using prior confirmed and stored data as our initial premises. And then so you develop an if-then statement. If this thing that I know to be true is true, can this be a thing? Basically. Okay. Hang on one second. I'm going to make this window larger so I can see the chat better. How long have I been taking deduction seriously? I'd say seriously I've been taking it about 2 years, really focusing on it. The first 2 years I was studying it, it was more kind of an off and on. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to dedicate myself to it. There were times where I was really into it, and then I'd have a falling out with it, and then I'd be back into it. But about 2 years ago, when Sharon Ford Holmes started coming up on the scene, was when I really started getting into deduction, because I started getting back into the channel again, because I'd stopped uploading for a while, because I'd kind of had a falling out with the whole deduction thing and wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. But then I, kind of had a change in heart, and I'm very grateful for that. Yes. How do you verify deduction? Because asking someone is sometimes not an option. If you can't ask, you can't technically verify. But even so, the experience is a good one. Just bear in mind that the possibility that you could be wrong. Don't be super sure of your deductions. Try and basically, this is an exercise in determining level of truth. So based on what you have observed, what you have concluded based off of those observations, how good is how solid is the foundation of the logic that you have devised based off of those observations? Are there possibilities and alternative possibilities that you've determined to be less likely, or have you ruled out all other possibilities with the available data? Bear in mind that you might not have a full data set. So ultimately, without asking, there is no way to fully verify, but you can get to a certain level of surety in yourself, which is not bad. Just bear things in mind, that the possibility that you could be wrong. What are some things you can deduce from where the shoes are most worn? I take it you mean like in the inside of the sole. So here, let me grab a pair of shoes. All right. So here we got a shoe, right? I actually got this shoe a couple of weeks ago, so there's not much wear and tear on it yet. So let's just take a look at it, though. So if I understand your question correctly, you're talking about the inside of the shoe, where the shoe is most worn. That would be true for a person with weak arches. So if a person has weak arches, so your foot is kind of supposed to have this sort of arch to it, where the ball of your foot and your heel and the outside of your foot are resting on the ground, but the inside of your foot isn't. A person with weak arches is going to have more flat feet, and so there's going to be more weight distributed to this area of the foot as opposed to this area. So you can determine if a person has weak arches if this area right here has more wear and tear on it. If you have the shoe itself, instead of just looking at it, you can actually see that effect inside the shoe. So that's basically what that means. Also, if there's a lot of wear on the toe, but not a lot of wear on the rest of it, where the ball of the foot is, that means that they're kind of bouncing around on their feet a lot. So also compare that with the type of shoe it is. If it's an athletic shoe, then that's probably an athletic sport that they do wearing that shoe that needs a lot of bouncing on your feet. So running would be one of those. Basketball, I'm not a sports guy, but I'd say tennis as well. But tennis players usually have tennis shoes. So wear and tear on the heel indicates usually a lot of stairs being climbed. So if you think about it, you kind of step up like this, right? So there's going to be some wear and tear on the back of your foot, right in that area, not the whole heel, but where it hits the stair, it hits the step, because when you're going upstairs, you kind of judge the distance with your feet themselves, and that's kind of how that works. So that's basically what you can get from the wear and tear on the soles of the shoe. Wear and tear on the outside of the shoe itself, indicative of different things like occupation, level of income, sentimentality of the shoe itself, a lot of different things, and usually as a result of activities rather than merely the walking aspect of things. Who is the frog? This is Fred. Fred the frog. He is my best friend, and basically my equivalent to Sherlock's skull, because I'm that lonely. And talking to a person when you're voicing your theories and deductions is helpful. Okay, let's see here. Man, you guys are coming up with a lot of questions. Lots of good streams on YouTube recently. What are your thoughts about people going into the psychology / psychiatry fields? Psychiatry, sorry. Using deductive skills in their work or using their work in deduction. So I'm going to be majoring, well, double majoring, but one of my majors is going to be psychology when I get into college. So personally, I want to use psychology in deduction rather than using deduction in psychology, but because there's a lot of things to be learned about people from the field of psychology. A lot of good research has been done. A lot of bad research too, but a lot of the bad research has been proven wrong through better studies. I actually just bought this book recently to get myself started with some basic concepts of psychology, just to get a good foundation. I haven't been able to really crack into it yet. I got it literally a few days ago, but. So as for people getting into psychology and stuff for and using deduction for that, for like therapy and stuff, yeah, you can totally use that. I tend to find that psychologists and psychiatrists are perceptive about people in the same sort of vein that deductionists are, except they more so gravitate towards the mannerisms that people exhibit rather than the physical evidence. I think that's really what sets apart a deductionist from merely a psychologist, is that we on top of focusing on the mannerisms, we also focus on the actual physical evidence that we can find. But I do think some psychologists do look at those things as well. Maybe not as much, but you do kind of, the line gets blurred after a while between how much the mannerisms influence who a person is and how much the physical evidence influence. It is what it is. Okay, one person asks, the XL Strike asks, a lot of this is about what happened so far today, as in, like, when you're deducing a person, you're determining what has happened as opposed to what is going to happen. I just thought I'd clear that up because I'm pretty sure that's what you meant by your question. But how can you tell if something is going to happen? Like when Sherlock could tell who was going to attack in what pattern. I assume you're referencing the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies. A different example would be in Sherlock season 4, where he makes predictions about what therapist Watson is going to take and all that. So essentially, it's the same sort of process. It's still lateral thinking, attacking the situations and the evidence in a non-linear way, like we do with traditional deductions. But there's also an element of strategy to it. You are more likely to know what is going to happen if you influence what is going to happen more. So if you're thinking in terms of chess, if the idea is to figure out what's going to happen based on what you think they're going to do in reaction to what you do. So the more you influence a situation, the more you dictate what's happening, the better you will be at determining what exactly is going to happen. Human psychology, knowing the people that you're trying to predict things, knowing their patterns of behavior is a big one. And this is a big one with deducing people in general, with just things that have happened before, but also things that are going to happen. If you know their patterns of behavior, some people have more strict patterns than others. So let's say a person who doesn't have strict patterns, their general pattern of behavior, their general preferences. If you see that a new stimulus, so to speak, has entered into the equation, a new factor, based on what you know about them, try and determine how it's going to affect them. And basically, you just get better with practice. Continuously try and determine what's going to happen based on what you know about the person, what you know about the thing that's happening currently, and try and do your own little experiments with introducing small little things to try and see how people will react. That's always fun. Obviously, try and be ethical. I can't stop you from being unethical, but I would appreciate it if you were ethical. And so, yeah. If you can't be sure of what you've deduced is correct, the experience is still a good one. Just bear in mind the possibility that you're wrong, and take every experience as a learning experience. As long as you are kind of do a self-check after you've made a deduction. Look back on the process that you actually used, not necessarily the deduction itself, and figure out, did I follow the process as well as I could have, or did I kind of go astray? Did I maybe rely too much on intuition here? Did I kind of just jump with a theory and kind of run with it? Do a self-check on the process rather than the deduction, and that's a good way to kind of check yourself if you can't get the actual answer from the person that you've just deduced. How can you? Oh, this leads great into the next question. How can you know if your intuition is correct or not when you're making deductions? So intuition, funny thing. Basically, you need to know how the system works. Intuition is your subconscious making connections and inferences that your conscious mind doesn't. So the cool thing about the subconscious is that it can take all this information, a whole bunch of information, and use it in tandem. The problem is it's indiscriminate as to what information it actually uses. So it could potentially use emotional data in tandem with physical data or more factual information. So meditation helps because it kind of connects your conscious with your subconscious. Conditioning with learning to prioritize and learning how to manage your emotions and be able to put them aside when needed be is a big part of that. Basically, the more you train your intuition in that way, or your brain in that way, the better your intuition will be. I'll do a video on that soon, going more in depth to that, because that is a big thing, and there are ways that you can stimulate your intuition. But basically, for now, think of intuition, and think of subconscious and conscious thought like this. All right, so all right. So you see all those dots there. You see all those dots, how close they are together? Imagine that's your conscious mind, right? And you've got a little pinball, and it's bouncing around between them, right? But it's kind of stuck there. There's not a lot of it where it can go. Let's expand the dot chart a little bit more. So let's just say that this is your brain, right? All right, this is your conscious attention. It's very focused. The dots are very close together. So that means, and see this line, think of it as like a pinball, and that's your stream of consciousness. So your consciousness is kind of stuck in between this area because the conscious mind is so focused that your thoughts are kind of stuck in that one area. So you're basically kind of limiting yourself as to the information you use, but the information you use is very specific, very precise. Conversely, if we spread out the dots, like so, right? and we put a pinball in that, it can go bounce around from here to here to here to here to here to here to here. It can bounce around all over the place. All right, so these are imagine this is like the different areas of your brain that have different information stored. So with your conscious mind, you're literally limiting yourself if you focus too much, because and this is not a diagram that I've made up myself. This is I read it in a book called Thinking with Numbers. I think it was a very interesting book about how the brain works, and how it was about math mainly, and how we can comprehend math. But anyway, so this is kind of the idea. So basically, with the subconscious mind, you've got a lot of ground you can cover in a short amount of time, right? But it's not super focused. So you can get general things, general inclinations, as opposed to your conscious mind, which is very specific and but also limited. So that's when, when you have that eureka moment, right? It's because you take a step back. Because if you're focusing too hard on a problem, you can't solve it, because you're literally constricting the amount of data you can use. And so when you take a step back and allow your subconscious to dwell on a problem, it's literally scanning the rest of your brain for more information that could be relevant. And so when you get that eureka moment, it's your brain finds a connection. Yay! And then you can go back to it consciously. Okay. Toby, shut up. Sorry, I'm just looking through the comments right now, guys. Yeah, I pretty much always have Fred in this specific spot. He's always good to have around and talk to, especially when I'm recording audio for my videos, which is right there. That's usually where the microphone is. Right now, it's right here. But he's always good about giving me that evil look of his and keeping me in line. Okay, so Florenson asks, in the original Sherlock books, he mentioned that the first thing he looks at is a woman's sleeve. Where should you look first at this day and age? Well, my last video literally talks about exactly that. So go and watch that, and you'll have your answer. Since malls in the US are reportedly being faded out by online shopping, where are other places to casually people watch, to make deductions and observe baselines, etc.? Well, basically, just because people are staying indoors more for shopping purposes doesn't mean that socialization is going to be confined entirely indoors. People still do need face-to-face social interaction. So, like a park, downtown area, waiting rooms, like, just go to the DMV. Even if you don't need to go to the DMV, just go to the DMV and like look at people. People watch there. It's the best place to people watch, in my opinion, because everyone's all nervous and everything. It's awesome. Other than that's the only reason I actually like the DMV. Otherwise, it's awful. Have I ever had a deduction that was desperately off or ended rather poorly or caused large offense. Never caused large offense. I'm pretty good about that. But yeah, I've had deductions that have been way off the mark and ended rather poorly for my ego. It's a thing that happens. It might happen to me tonight while I do live deductions. You never know. It depends on the subject. It depends on your mindset at the time. It depends on a lot of things. Remember that failure is more beneficial to teaching you than success is. With a success, what you've learned is that the thing that you just did was the correct way to do things. With a failure, you learn all the things that you shouldn't do. And that's what's really beautiful about failure. So don't look too bad on failure. Toby, do you want me to let you out? Come here. If you're wondering, I have a cat. I also talk to him, including with Fred. Anyway. I've been having difficulty with mindfulness meditation exercises, and I was wondering if it's valid to combine it with mind palace construction, essentially killing two birds with one stone. Not really, because with mind palace construction, you're focusing on a lot of different things. The whole point of mindfulness meditation is to focus on one thing. Now, most people go with breathing. You don't have to go with breathing. In fact, I'm actually going away from doing the box breathing version of mindfulness meditation and actually doing meditation while in the shower. So setting a timer on my phone and then go into the shower and just focus on the water that's hitting my body and focus on that instead of breathing. And I feel that tactile physical sensation is easier for me to focus on than breathing is. So the whole idea behind mindfulness meditation is to focus in on one thing and learn to focus your attention on whatever you want it to do. Mind palace construction, while mindfulness meditation, you're not really mindfulness meditating. But it could be considered a form of meditation in and of itself, just not that type of meditation. Other ways you can do mindfulness meditation is get a candle, light a candle and stare at the flame. May not be so good for your eyes, but I've heard people do it. I've done it myself a couple times. But I'd look into that further before you do and see if that's going to have any long-term effect on your eyes. Our eyes are very important to us. Do I plan to answer individually the questions you do not get to hear on the stream? No, I don't have that kind of time, unfortunately. I am not going to be able to answer every question here. I'm going to try and answer as many as I can, and practical deduction is going to try and answer the ones that I can't get done. So I'm sure that actual deductions are not all that hard, as it is simply connecting information. However, as he said, okay, never mind, that wasn't a question. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let my cat out real quick. All right, so be free. Am I going to be doing these live streams monthly now? I'd say yeah. Yeah, monthly sounds like a good schedule. I kind of just do them at the spur of the moment whenever I have the motivation to do so. So, Toby is adorable, but he's also evil. He wakes me up at 5 in the morning, and I'm an insomniac as it is, so I get very little sleep because of him. Do I meditate with a mantra? I have tried that. So essentially a mantra is basically, for those of you who don't know, it's basically just a phrase or a word that you say over and over again. You focus on that. If you go to yoga or something, they'll have you have a specific mantra for you or something. I haven't taken yoga or anything, but I assume that's how it works. If you want, you could Like that's the couple times I've used a mantra. It's been the channel uh, motto: "See the truth behind the facade." Um, so whatever your mantra is it's kind of going to gear your brain to thinking about that. So yeah, Toby should be more mindful, but Toby's kind of a jerk. I mean, he's adorable during the day and just a jerk during the night. No, I haven't answered the question about the two Sherlocks. Could you ask it again? No, I haven't seen Mr. Robot. I am familiar with the premise of the show, I think. But am I ever going to learn computer coding or anything related? I don't think so. I'd rather have a friend that knows those sort of things because that can come in handy. But I don't. I think there are a lot more things I could focus my attention on, and I don't want to cast my net too large. In terms of knowledge base, I am quite focusing on more of the real life things that you can apply deduction to. And you do have to make certain choices about what you're going to assimilate and what you're not going to assimilate. Welcome to the life of being a pet owner. Good luck. Thanks. Oh, Josh Smith, I'm so sad to see you go. Have a good night. What is that book that Fred has conquered? It is actually The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You could have guessed that. My opinions on completing the same puzzle over and over again does the. Okay, so you gave an example. I'll give an example of my own. Here's a basic puzzle cube, right? So you take it apart, and it's individual pieces that look like this. They have a 45-degree angles, and they fit together like this, right? Or like this. Now, I've solved this probably a dozen times, and at this point, I already know how it's going to, what I need to do to solve it. The difficult part is actually wrapping my fingers around it to get to what I need. To get it in the position, I can actually put the two halves together. That's the difficult part. I'm not going to do it right now because, that does consume some time. Even though I do know how to solve the puzzle itself, it's pretty easy. But just it becomes more of a kinesthetic thing than a logical thing at that point. Have I watched Hannibal the show? No, but I have watched all the movies. So this is a weird question. When I'm observing people think I'm checking them out and other things. How do I do to convince them that I'm not? I cannot tell you how many times this has happened to me, and especially with women. I start, trying to make a deduction about a woman, and then she catches my eye, and she's like, she gets this oh no, creeper alert kind of look, and you just kind of you crumble because you think, oh no, I'm not a creep, please. But there's really no point in in stating otherwise. Basically, you just learn to either deal with it, or you get better at being inconspicuous, and sometimes both. So, it's it's an occupational hazard. What's my opinion on Robert Downey Jr.'s depiction of Sherlock Holmes in comparison to Benedict Cumberbatch's? Well, both are idealized in various ways. Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock starts out more down to earth because they were more beholden to the source material, especially in the first episode. But as the series goes on, it gets more and more unrealistic. Just not really the deductions that he makes themselves, although some of them, you can't, like in the first episode of season 3, the empty hearse, when he's walking into the restaurant where John is, and the waiter that's gonna bring him to send him to his table, he needs to get rid of him, and then he hears a text alert, and then just you see these two words pop up. These two phrases pop up, and on his shoulder is the phrase "expectant father," and then the text alert would therefore be. His wife is going into labor. You cannot deduce that from a person's shoulder. I don't even know how you would begin to go about thinking about that. Maybe the anxiety, the maybe checking his phone, but literally Sherlock is just walking in and is not even glanced at the guy. He's still looking straight ahead, so he's relying on his peripheral vision, which, if you know anything about your vision, your focus vision is about the size of is about the area of your pinky nail, and everything else is kind of blurry, and you can't really focus on detail. Your focus vision and your peripheral vision. Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. But there's no way in that amount of time, without even looking at the guy, that he could have deduced those things, especially just from the guy's shoulder. So that's a bit unrealistic. For the most part, his deductions are pretty down to earth, especially when they have to actually write the script to where he goes through his logic. But it's mainly the speed at which he deduces things that's unrealistic in that show. I still love the show. I love it for what it is. I don't use it so much for intellectual commentary as much as just for entertainment. It's a good motivator for me to watch that show. It's one of my favorite shows, but it has its flaws, especially in the intellectual commentary, which is fine. It's not meant to be a how-to guide to deduction. But anyway, as for Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, I love those movies. I think those were the first movies I watched about Sherlock Holmes, but they were also what convinced me that Sherlock Holmes's abilities were impossible to achieve as a kid. So that's what discouraged me from getting into deduction earlier, was that the way he goes about things. It's he just says stuff. He doesn't really go through his logic that much, and even when he does, it's kind of like sped through, and they focus more on the choreography with the fighting and stuff in that. And there are some things you can deduce from a person to determine what sort of things they're going to do, like what sort of fighting style they have, how they're probably going to react to certain things. And that goes back to the whole influencing a situation in order to determine its outcome. But there's no way he could map out every move with that amount of accuracy. So they're both good fun. They both have elements of realism to them, but they are not true entirely to the skill itself. I'd say Benedict Cumberbatch's is more realistic in more ways, but Robert Downey Jr.'s does have realism elements to it as well. How do you deduce someone's name from what you see? Is it actually possible? It is in theory. So obviously, if they have a name tag that says, "Hello, my name is Jordan Accardo," you would obviously be able to know that my name is Jordan Accardo, unless you misread Accardo and think it's avocado or something else. But when it comes to if you see maybe initials on something, then you can basically, the way I've seen it done is, if you see initials, you think about the most common name that starts with that letter, and that gives you the highest likelihood of success. That's obviously not a surefire way. If you actually, harkening back to the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies, there was this one scene that was really interesting. It was the scene where he got kidnapped or blindfolded and then taken to the secret society's headquarters or whatever. And based on the letters that were on the guy's desk and the initials that were there, and the other things that he observed in tandem with that, including the ring on his finger, the location, the circumstances, he was able to determine, based on that and the letters and the initials of his name from the letters that were on his table, exactly what his name was. So if you know who various public figures are, and you see initials and things and other things that coincide with that public figure, you could determine their name if they're trying to stay hidden. Although I don't think that's a situation most of us will find ourselves in, but it is a cool thing that you could do. Will I be a detective? That is the goal. Okay. Any tips for when you get started trying to get into the art of deduction? I want to improve my skills. Okay, so there's some training exercises that I recommend you do that I've made videos on ages ago. So basically, you need to train your observation, your logical faculties, and your knowledge base. So with your observation, I did a video called "Building a Foundation," which details various different training exercises that you can do to foster observation and visual memory recall. I'd highly recommend you do the techniques that I recommend in those videos. I do them too as well every night. As far as other techniques, especially for logical faculties, there's a technique a training technique that I developed a while ago, and made a video on I call it reverse deductions. Basically, you look at yourself and determine and pretend as though you're an outside eye, and if you were someone else observing you, what would you be able to deduce about the things that are available? That's a great exercise to kind of help you get into the habit and the mindset and walk you through the process, because you know what the answers to everything are. You just have to figure out how the things that a person who isn't you, who doesn't know those answers, would look on you and see, could they determine those things? And I still do this from time to time. It's really fun. And then the step up from that would be half deductions, which I made a video on as well. And that's where if someone tells you something about themselves, and then you try and look at them and see if you could figure out that thing about them based on the information that you can observe alone, as if they hadn't told you that. So same principle, a little bit more difficult since you don't know everything, you just know the answer. You have to look for the information as well as put it together. With reverse deductions, you have all the information, you have the answer, you just have to figure out how to put the information together to get to the answer. So it's kind of reverse engineering sort of idea. That helps with developing the lateral thinking. Oh, I got a new ringtone. Listen to this. All right. Call that person back later. Anyway, so those are some good techniques to help you. Again, check out the video I did on observation. Building a Foundation was what it was called, for observation techniques. And knowledge base, you kind of... I'll do a video soon on the general things you need to learn, but as you get into this, you'll start to figure out what things are helpful to learn. Some basic things on psychology, some basic things on like wear and tear and economics, and practical things like go to the store and see which clothes are more expensive, like feel the material on different clothes and see, what is the difference between an expensive shirt and a non-expensive shirt. And from that, you can deduce, with that knowledge, you can deduce a person's economic status and things like that. There are a lot of things you can do to help yourself in the beginning. And I wish I knew a lot of the things that I know now that can help me back when I first started, because I kind of had to start from scratch. Also, reading good books about it helps. Ben Cardall's The Monographs, Marie Konakova's book Mastermind How to Think Like Sherlock Holmes. Highly recommend those. This might be a bit pricey. Certainly was for me, but anyway, the Ben Cardall's newest thing that he's produced, which is his 6-part DVD video training course called Pipes, Problems, and Reading People, which I just ordered recently, and I am very much looking forward to diving into it. But it is about £100, which is $133, give or take. And so, but that is meant to be sort of a course for both beginners and veterans alike. So, if you can't afford that, that's a great place to start. I'm also going to be doing a review on it once I finish it. But as of right now, it hasn't gotten in yet. Okay. The average person can make good deductions. I would agree. Would you agree the quote-unquote trick is having the background knowledge to say, I've seen this before? No. The trick, quote-unquote, is developing the mindset. So cause and effect, right? We determine the possible causes from an observable effect. That is, in essence, what we do as deductionists. We observe something and we determine what caused it. Knowledge base is very helpful, but it's not our foundation. Our foundation is the mindset, because, as you said, anyone can make a good deduction if they are walked through the process. Even if you don't have specific knowledge about something, you can potentially reverse engineer a concept to be able to determine, a more general deduction, but a still impressive deduction nonetheless. So, for instance, take Sherlock Holmes's first meeting with Dr. Watson. He goes through a list of deductions about him, and one of those is that he came from Afghanistan, from the war. And Sherlock Holmes was able to determine this based on his build and stance. He was a military man. His injury obviously indicated that he and his tan line not above the wrist indicated that he had been abroad and was injured in battle. So if Sherlock Holmes was oblivious to the fact that there was a war going on in Afghanistan, he would still be able to determine that Watson had served in a war, just based on the observable evidence that he saw, not his knowledge base. So, while not as specific, it's still pretty impressive. So instead of saying, you've been from Afghanistan, I perceive, he could have said, you've been from the war, I perceive. And it still would have had the same effect. So the trick, quote unquote, is the mindset. Anyone can do this if you walk them through the process, but it takes the conditioning of your mind to think laterally as opposed to linearly, to make this into a habit rather than just a thing you can do, making it a thing that you just do. That is the trick to it. And even if you have no prior knowledge in a subject, you can still apply the process and get some information out of it. Knowledge is a useful tool, but it's not our foundation. Lago, I already answered your question. Will I be a detective? Yes, my plan is to become a private detective. How would you suggest one use a mind palace for purely cognitive, i.e. only for theorizing purposes? Also, how do you suggest on improving the quality of said mind palace? Okay, so one of the myths propagated by Sherlock is the use and application of the mind palace. And in fact, the name itself is wrong. It's not the mind palace, it's the memory palace, because it is specifically a memory technique. Now, you can use the same core principles of that memory technique to theorize. So visualizing your theories is a huge thing that can help you. Visualizing things is just good in general for you to do. Visualizing your moves before you make them helps you to be mindful and observant. Visualizing your theories helps you to determine if look at them from a different angle. You can technically, you could call it a mind palace if the same building that you store your memories in, you have a room dedicated to just theorization, and you imagine a person in that room, and you imagine, the different pieces of data. But if you're going to, the thing is, the mind palace is not it's not a permanent storage unit. You can store something in a mind palace and then leave it there and not review it again for a long time. And when you go back to find it again, it'll be gone. So the key to the thing about the mind palace that makes it helpful is that it's a memory system to help train to help your natural memory along. It's kind of, think of it as a limbo from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, as opposed to a permanent storage system in and of itself. You store things in your mind palace, and then you review them over and over again. So try and go through your mind palace every night before you go to bed. So, and you don't have to go through the whole mind palace. Like, you could divide up your week to where, like, like on Monday you go through maybe 3 rooms of your mind palace and review the information, and maybe that takes you about 20 minutes before you go to bed. And then the next day you review another. So it's not like it'll go away super quickly. It takes a while for information in your mind palace to be recycled, but eventually it will be if you don't review it enough. But after you've reviewed it enough times, eventually it just becomes something that you just know. But if it hasn't gotten to the point where it's no longer just in your mind palace and now in your long-term memory, if it's still just in your mind palace, you can navigate your mind palace, review your information, find it, and utilize it, and then maybe bring it into that room where you have the person that you're theorizing about, or whatever you're theorizing about in it. And so you can do that, sure. As far as making the mind palace, improving the quality, I assume you mean the visual quality, the how accurate it is, how clear the picture is in your mind. Tactile feel, the more smell, the more sensory information you put into this, the better. So if I were to turn this room into a room in my mind palace, I would not only look at it, but I would like go around here and just feel the tactile surface of this wood. What it feels like, not only what it looks like. How does this area right here differentiate from the texture of right here, and then maybe smell it even. Get the smell of the wood and everything like that. So the more sensory information you have, the clearer the picture is going to be in your mind. Furthermore, just generally visualizing things helps train that area of your brain. So this is why fiction reading is actually good for deduction. You don't just have to confine yourself to nonfiction reading, because fiction reading, there's more visualization. You're imagining the story. That helps you train your visualization. The training techniques for observation and memory recall that we've talked about before in some of my older videos, the building foundation one especially, go into different techniques to help you train your visual memory and your photographic memory, really. So that helps. There's also a meditation exercise where you imagine an emotional situation. Think back to the last emotional situation you've been in, and then imagine yourself not as yourself, but maybe a fly on the wall. And as that fly, you can buzz around, you can go wherever you want, and play that memory back. But instead of through your eyes, view it through the eyes of like a little drone, a little fly buzzing around, and see the whole situation. That helps you visualize not only just a situation itself, but spatially visualize, which is important. So, sorry, am I getting too far away from the mic? I feel like I'm getting too far away from the mic. Anyway, so that's a big technique that you can do to help yourself learn to visualize. Other than that, just that's pretty much how you improve the quality of your mind palace, is teaching yourself to visualize. The other application of that meditation exercise, real quick, is learning how to control and manage your emotions. So specifically choose emotional situations to do that whole buzzing around, looking at things from an outside perspective, literally an outside perspective, getting an outside perspective on your emotions, looking at them from literally a different angle. Will help you understand better your emotions, your emotional triggers, and help you to manage them better, which is good in general. Like I always say, we're not trying to eliminate emotions, we're trying to manage them and be the master over them instead of them being the master over us. Are we still talking about Death Note? Death Note is getting debunked a lot, especially the part of how Kira can be tracked down easily through the power of the internet. See the imaginary. Okay. I know this is probably a discussion that's happening in the chat, but I'm not going to touch Death Note. Just no. I did an escape room recently and wanted to know how to scan a room and find info fast. Any tips? I've actually wanted to do escape rooms for a while now. Need to go and do one. But in terms of scanning a room, basically just get familiar with the process of scanning. Just the more you do it, the better you get at it. So when you walk into a room, observe the general structure. We take things for granted. Our brains literally make shortcuts to where if we see two walls, we don't have to see the connection between those walls to know that they're connected. But look at those edges, look at those vertices, and just observe the general structure and geography of the room. Then start, and that gives you a general scan, and then start looking at more specific things. I detailed this method in my building a foundation video. Shameless plug again for that same video. Anyway. Practically speaking, how has this helped in your daily life? School, work, friends, etc. It does help mainly for personal things with just deconstructing concepts in a lateral way as opposed to a linear way. It helps with understanding and conceptualizing concepts for like school and stuff. As far as friends and family go, I try and keep this to myself more. The things that I see, I don't want to impose on other people. Oh, Zevin Williams is back. I remember him. He was on the live stream last time. All right, a couple more questions, and then we'll go into the live deduction demonstration, and hopefully I'll not embarrass myself. Yeah, the private detective thing, enjoy solving relationships, not murders. Yes, I am aware that the majority of cases the private detectives get are affair related. Spy on my wife, see if she's having an affair on me, stuff like that. So they are consulted to solve crimes by police departments from time to time. I do want to gear my marketing of myself more towards that, and I do have a plan on how to kind of establish my name and things like that in solving crimes as opposed to solving relationship issues. So I'm not going to detail my whole plans, but I am aware of these things and figuring out ways to get past them. Sorry, my throat's getting a little dry. Doing too much talking. Yes, I was totally hoping that Moriarty was alive in Sherlock season 4. I was so disappointed when that flashback, what turned out to be a flashback. When he comes, I was hoping that when he came to Sharonford that he was still alive. But then the 5 years later comes up, and you're just like, no. I really wanted Moriarty to be alive. Okay. Okie dokie. So, do we still want to do the live deduction? Sound off in the chat. Oh, by the way, for all of you watching, I have a Twitter account now. It's at Deductionist on Twitter. So go and follow me or something. I guess that's how it works. I don't do social media. Well, the thing about private detectives is that there is a selection process. You do have to get certified and stuff. It's not like you're just a civilian. You're not just an amateur detective. So there are credentials for private detectives, and they are, they do aid in solving crimes sometimes, depending on the case, depending on if there's a private person consulting them, that's like in a kidnapping or something. Maybe the person hires a private detective. Sometimes the police go to the private detectives, although that's kind of rare. Anyway, so we want to do the live deduction. Okay. So, which of you lovely people would like to come on the live stream itself and allow me to make deductions about you? So, bear in mind, the names of the videos, real quick. Hang on one sec. Okay, the first one is called Building a Foundation, Observation, and Mindfulness. And then the second one I would recommend is Increase Your Observational Powers with 2 simple training exercises. So those are both made about 5 months ago. Okay. Okay, so bear in mind for those of you wanting to come on the stream that just keep in mind that your personal information might, be available to all 34 people watching and whomever watches this later. My videos get an average of about 5,000 views over the course of a month. So if you're okay with, I'll try and keep my deductions as non-personal as possible. But if you are okay with that, cool. If you are not okay with that, please don't ask to come on. And make sure I don't actually know you, haven't had conversations with you before. Okay, so yeah, Zevin, you were on the last one. Okay, so it looks like we have Josiah and we have Cataposa and okay. Who else wants to join? So we got Josiah and Cataposa. Okay, so basically, this live stream is through Google Hangout. So basically, I send you a link. So I'll need your email, and I'll send you the link to this live stream, and you'll be able to come on if I can get the link itself. Or actually, there's a way to add people. So yeah, okay. So I basically, if you want, send me your email. Or email me, actually, if you don't want other people sending you spam email. My email is the art of deductive reason. Art of deductive reasoning at gmail.com. All right, email me, and if you're interested in it, and we'll see which of you gets to come on the stream, and I will send you a link via your email. So if you're interested, just send me an email. The art of, not if. Don't copy and paste that. Okay. All right. Everyone who's interested, send me an email. We'll see if we can get to all of you. But first come, first serve basis right now. So whoever emails me first gets to go first. That's unfortunate, L. Yeah, this will be archived, so you guys can all check it out later if you have to go. That's shut up, me. All right, I haven't gotten any emails from any of you yet. The first one was a typo. So if you're going to copy and paste it, copy and paste the second one. Yes, you has a question. What is your question? Okay, the email, guys, is theartofdeductivereasoning@gmail.com. Email me real quick, and I can. All right. Email me, and I can give you the link. Do you think you could use deduction to get out of a harmful situation? So it depends on how you go about it. If someone's like trying to hurt you or something, and you use what you've deduced about them to empathize with them and get them to sympathize with you by showing them their better nature, that's a good idea. Don't be a smart aleck when you are. If you're in a dangerous situation. Okay, it looks like I got an email from one of you. And yes, I will allow you guys to deduce things about me. Live deductions. All right, Aaron Klegger, looks like you're first. All right, so basically use that link and you'll be able to come on. All right, Miss Geek, we'll do it in a we'll do you next. All right, Aaron was first. Okay, April Gamer will do you after Miss Geek. So there we go. Invite. All right, I sent you the invitation, Aaron. So try and accept that invitation. Okay, cool. You're setting it up on your own. Yes, you will be able to see him. Hopefully, this will work. I would discourage using deduction as a form of manipulation. I think that's ethically unsound, and I don't approve of that. I think we should use this as a means of helping people, not manipulating people. So obviously, there's some gray area there, and I can't stop you from using the tool in the way that you see fit to use it, but I don't condone using it to manipulate people for selfish purposes. Oh, and also if you want to come on the stream, make sure that you have a working webcam and microphone because that's important, obviously. Yes, Black Ice, ethics. I don't think I should have to define them, or the term ethics itself. You laugh at ethics, okay. Then you are free to use deduction in whatever way you see fit. I can't stop you, but I do disagree with you. All right, Aaron is trying to set it up on his end. Okay, so Aaron, since you're still setting things up, I'm going to try with one of the other people. So, you will be next. All right, Monique, I'm sending you the invite. Did you get the invitation? Oh, Aaron, you got it? All right. It should be pretty simple. Just accept the invitation, and you should be able to come on the stream. Am I sociable in daily life? No, I'm rather asocial. Is the frog the true mastermind behind my deductions? Yes. Yes, he is. Underneath that eye patch is the all-seeing eye. Yep. Are you on the video call? Hello? Hello? Is someone on? I think someone's on. Okay, Monique, I think you're on, but I can't hear you. Sound off in the chat if it worked. Okay, Aaron, it's fine. Okay, can you hear me, Miss Geek? It looks like your microphone is off.
There we go.
There you go. Is your video on?
Hi.
Hello. How are you today?
Yes.
You doing well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. So, would you like to start off by making deductions about me, or would you like me to start off by making deductions about you?
Would you deduce me?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first then. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, so your accent indicates that you are from America. That would also line up with the time of day it is, which is nighttime. You've also recently taken a shower. You're getting ready for bed based on your pajamas. The designs of the pajamas themselves are owls. It's red in general. So the red kind of indicates a more, not necessarily open, but expressive personality in some ways. I'd say that's not quite on the mark based on your reaction.
No, you're on it.
Okay. Owls are symbolically representative of wisdom, so there might be some subconscious inclination to that sort of design pattern based on that and your interest in deduction and wisdom in general. The decor of your room is quite minimalist. The room itself is large, which would indicate decent economic standing. The furniture is matching in color scheme, but not all of it is from the same manufacturer. The kind of dull color palette of the walls and the furniture contrasts with your current attire. So I'd say there's pensive sort of personality in the sense of reflective, not necessarily governed by emotions, but rather governed by thinking. Would those be correct? Would I be correct in thinking those things?
Pretty much. I'm actually in my parents' room right now. So.
Oh, I see. Okay, that would explain the contrast in the size of the room being the master bedroom. Okay.
Yeah.
So based on that, I would say that the computer that you're on is not a laptop; it's rather a desktop, and that it's more of a family computer. And is that the one that you normally use, or is it just because that has a webcam? Okay.
Normally use this one.
Oh, I see. Okay, interesting. I would say that you're between the ages of 16 and 18. Am I highballing you on that one?
Exactly right.
Okay, so you're 16 or
17.
17? 17. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's general things. Would you like? Yeah, would you like to make some deductions about me? You don't have to if you don't want to. Totally okay. If you don't want to take the risk, but it's all good if you do.
I'm fine for now, actually.
Okay, you don't want to do it.
No.
Okay, sounds good. Any? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What?
I watch a lot of your videos, so
Okay.
yeah. If I make deductions, then I don't feel like it's that fair.
It's okay. That's actually what I've been thinking is that you guys get more information about me than I do about you. So it's kind of interesting to see the difference between me making deductions about people whom I'm seeing for the first time as opposed to you guys who are more familiar with me. Although I will say that in my videos, my personality is more. Is not exactly true to life. The live streams are probably the closest you get to true to life in regards to my personality. But in most of my videos, there is sort of a show being put on. So.
I see. But you were right on it.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Good job.
Thanks. So do you have anything you would like to ask or address to the people at home?
So, I have a question.
Okay.
When you have dreams and you're trying to remember your dream, but it keeps coming back to you in small pictures, should you just focus on it or leave it be and hope for the best?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I haven't really done a lot of research into it, but based on what I know about the subconscious and how dreams work, I'll say this. So, with dreaming is basically your subconscious mind being active while your conscious mind is asleep. It's recycling and resetting your brain, essentially taking all the things that your conscious mind has been dwelling on and kind of refreshing your brain by and so that's why the dreams seem quite weird, is that they're an amalgamation of a bunch of different random thoughts that you didn't even know you were having. So based on that, it's a subconscious thing. So focusing on it is a act of the conscious mind, not the subconscious. So it could stand to reason that not focusing on it would be the best way to remember it. But in my personal experience, I know that when I don't try and remember what the dream is, I can't really piece it all together. I think there's a reason why we don't remember most of our dreams is because it's the resetting of the brain. So I think there's a reason why it all gets flushed. Again, I haven't done a lot of research into dreams, but I'd say that, you know, if you want to remember what you were dreaming, focus on it in small increments, but then, do something else in between focusing on it to allow your subconscious to kind of gestate on it and see if it can piece it all back together, and then revisit it with your conscious mind to see. But yeah, okay.
That seems smart.
All right.
Yeah, that's all the questions I had.
Okay, cool. So do you know how to log out of this?
Not quite. Actually, this is the first time I've done this. So, oh yeah.
Okay, there should be a hang up button.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Okay. Um. Okay, I've missed a lot of your questions. A lot. Looks like you guys were all trying to make deductions. Aaron, have you been able to get on the stream? Still trying to set up your side. Okay. Okay. So who else wanted to do it? Mythic, would you like to? Would you still like to have me make deductions about you? Okay. All right. Whoever's email is April Gamer, I've just sent you an invite to the stream. Oh, you're good, Miss Geek. Okay. Well, Mythic, if you'd like to make deductions about me, you can. I will let you know if they're correct or not. If you want to clean up your room first, we've got some other people in line to come on the stream. If you're going to send an image of your room, Jameson, I'd say don't clean it because cleaning it would give me an ideal perception of who you are. And if you want me to get accurate deductions, cleaning it is not the way to go because I don't get to see your pattern of behavior. If your pattern is that you keep your room clean, then yeah, go for it. But you know, I'd rather see you in your natural element rather than an ideal perception. Hey, Jacob, we don't judge here. I'm sure you're not ugly at all. And besides, when you get into deduction and you get really serious about deduction, you stop judging people because it's not a really profitable thing. It's just a thing that wastes time, and it's just there's no point to it. There's no functionality in judging people. So if you want to come on, you can just email me. Could I do a video focusing on making deductions based on food, such as partially consumed food, food preparation, etc.? Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to do. I'm trying to think of the applications of that right now, but yeah, I'll look into doing a video on that. All right. Okay. It's all right, Cataposa. It's cool. Kurt John, I can say hi to you. Hello. I'm sorry I missed your comments. Don't cry. Okay, yeah, the email is theartofdeductivereasoning@gmail.com. Thank you, Practical. Mythic, by the way, if you have deductions to make about me and you actually want to come on the stream to make it and not just through the chat, but come on the stream and just not show your video feed, that's fine too. Okay, so Zevin asks, do I practice any other forms of reasoning? The big thing to know about deduction is that the term deduction, as we use it, is not the traditional definition. It's not simply deductive reasoning. While there is deductive reasoning within this process, the term deduction is the connotative. We use the connotative definition, like an Urban Dictionary. So in this process, we use deductive, inductive, and abductive reasoning in tandem. Depending on the situation, we might use one or two or all three. It all depends on the amount of information that you have, the type of information that you have, and the way in which you process the information. But they're all three of them are useful in this process in one form or another. For Frodo, when do the live streams happen? Like once every month. I don't know, whenever I get the inspiration. Okay, so who else wants to come on the stream? I've sent invitations to several people. If you want to come on the stream, let me know. What do you think, Fred? Oh, it's so violent. Yes, still looking for people. Black Ice, if you want, email me. Okay, Mythic. It's good. If you want to come on the stream and just not show your video feed, if your room is messy and everything, and just make deductions about me verbally, it would probably be a better demonstration for the stream itself, because people won't be able to actually see the comments when the video is archived. And I do kind of want people to see the demonstration itself. So if you want to make deductions about me, probably be better to actually come on the stream, even if you don't want to show your video feed. Yeah, Fred he's seen better days. He both eyes are replacements. This one is and the mouth is also a replacement. It's a pipe cleaner. It used to be a little string. The shirt and the coat I made for him myself, and I've had him since I was 6 years old. So yeah, now he just sits there now. Black Ice, you need to send me an email so I can let you on the stream if you want to come on. You can talk. I'd prefer that you talk so I can get a baseline on your vocal patterns. Can I turn on my lights? No, I like it like this. Fred came back from Nam. Yes, he did. So just waiting for the emails from those of you interested in coming on the stream. Not really getting any good questions at the moment. Fred is awesome. Yes, he is. What a champ. All right. Black Ice. All righty. Add people. Let's see. Yep. I sent you the invitation, Black Ice. Mythic, I didn't get anything from you. So no, I can't read what you say. No, what you said. Are Again, I would actually ask that you come on the stream itself so that people could see the demonstration. Even if you don't want me to make deductions about you, which is totally fine. If you want to make deductions about me, I prefer that you come on the stream. Black Ice, are you on?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How are you doing today, sir?
Fine. Little freaked out being on a stream, but
it's all good, dude. So, did you want to make deductions about me? I'm not. Or did you want me to make deductions about you?
why don't you go ahead with me? Not professional enough to go after you.
Okay, sounds good. So, from your mannerisms and the things that you're saying, you have a more introverted and reserved personality. Bit of stage fright, but at the same time, you've come on the stream, so it's something that you manage, not something that controls you. But I can see from your breathing pattern right now that there is slight anxiety coming on. As for your room, it's hard to tell, but it seems, because not a lot of it is visible, but it looks as though you have stored various different things. So I'd say, you are not minimalist. You rather accumulate various things over the course of time, and these things pile up, but they either have sentimental value to you or they've had worth at one time or another. You have a cross on your necklace, but at the same time, earlier I believe you said that you laugh at ethics, so not really in line with the idea of God or accountability. So either you were being crass and sarcastic before, or the cross has no religious connotation for you personally, but rather something that that is either a part of your upbringing, or simply something that you like the aesthetic of, or maybe something that you wear ironically.
Well, you're right about the sarcastic thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought so.
Like the most obvious one.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing. I said it seemed like the most obvious one.
Indeed. We try to balance all possibilities here. So that's pretty much it for now. Those are some basic things. I don't want to get too more in depth. Other than your complexion indicates not a lot of outdoor activity, and your age is probably somewhere in between 15 and 17, I'm going to say. Maybe 14, but somewhere in between there.
Yeah, 15.
15? Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, did you want to make some deductions about me, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, sounds good. Well, do you have any questions that you would like to ask or anything to address to the people at home?
No.
Okay.
I like your videos.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Do you know how to leave the stream?
Yeah, just click hang up.
Okay, cool. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks. Okie dokie. Okay, cool. I'm gonna set you up, Mythic, right now. Then Blacksmith 14, you will be next. Wait, hang on a second. Someone sent me a bunch of pictures. I will save the deduction of the pictures that you sent me for a Deductionist Proving Ground video, which will be later on. So add. I'm not sure if it's gonna work with a non-Gmail account. Are you Batman now, Black Eyes? You can if you want to be. Here. There you go. You're Batman now. I'm just gonna wear this for a while now. It's cool. Oh, you asked a question. Do you think people with autism are naturally better at deduction? Well, considering the fact that I'm high functioning autistic, I do have some personal thing to add to that, but I think it depends because autism is a spectrum and it's not all the same. It depends on what area of your brain has been pulled from and which area has been added to. It's not necessarily going to aid you. In some ways, it has aided me, but not in other ways it has detracted. And so observation is more difficult for me because I'm more stuck in my head. So my thinking is better, but my observation is not all as great. Yeah, if you want to join, send me an email. Practical Deduction will give you the email if you want. All right, Aaron Claire might be close to setting it up. Mythic, could you send me the invite again? I don't think I got it. Make sure you got the email right. Wait, no, never mind. I got it. Accept. There you go. Sent you the link. Just click on the link, and it should allow you to come in to the stream. You like Spider-Man? Me too. He's my favorite. Batman's my second favorite. I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Yeah, just kidding. I'm not Batman. Yeah. That would be cool, though, if I was. Don't take that out of context and put it on YouTube. Oh, wait, no. It's already out of context, and it's already on YouTube. Do whatever you please with that. I thought it might get some of you to laugh. Okay. Hannah, if you want, you can make deductions about me. That's fine. Okay, blacksmithing idiot. I will try and get you on. We're trying to get first mythic on at the moment. Really, I need your guys' email so that I can add you to the. Hang on, let me see if I can do this another way. There we go. All right, I sent out the invitation. You'll be next. You will be next. All right. Let's see some comments while we're waiting. No, I'm not doing a dance. All right, Josh, you will be after Mythic and the blacksmith guy. It's okay. I sent you the invite, so you should be able to click on the invite and come on the stream. I'll send it to you again if you need. Yes, Roberts, you're absolutely correct. Deduction is a skill that is sharpened through practice, and it just depends on how sharp that tool is when you first pick it up. Yeah, you really got it there. It doesn't where you start doesn't dictate where you end. A person who is talented might have a better starting point, but he might end further behind than the person who started with less than them. I'm not doing a dance, guys. I'm sorry. I already said that I'm Batman in the most embarrassing way I could possibly think of at the moment. I think I've done enough embarrassing of myself. I'm not gonna do a dance. Fred can do a dance if you want. Fred, would you like to do a dance? Only intellectual commentary and high quality discussion here, folks. All right, we'll do someone first, since Mythic is having a bit of trouble. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a pretty decent lag of about 15 seconds. So I'm just now reading the comments that you guys are seeing with the Fred dancing. Okay, we'll start with blacksmithing idiot. Hey, buddy, can you send me your email? Someone's making a GIF out of it. Practical. You better not make a GIF out of that. Yes, Fred is dead inside. That's how he knows so much. Okay, cool. Still trying to figure out the situation with the people coming on the stream, but this is fun. There. Now Fred is more happy. Okay, Mythic, you got it set up? All right, just come on the stream. I gave you the invitation. What is the first thing I look for to deduce a person? I made a video about this the other week. It's my most recent video. Go check that out. Is it permissible to contact me for more in-depth discussion, or if you have further questions? Absolutely. You can contact me via my Facebook fan page, which is The Art of Deduction Official, or you can contact me on Google Hangouts. I'm always down for a chat. Don't don't worry about it. I'm always like to help people out with their deductions. Yes, okay, practical deduction. If you want to make a GIF out of it, you can. Okay, you guys can make a GIF. This is the internet. Why are you guys asking me for permission? Don't people on the internet just do this stuff? Okay, Mythic, you take some time to figure this out. I'm going to do Blacksmithing Idiot first. You have been invited. This is not a Kevlar wall. This is sound dampening foam for when I record audio for my videos. It is polite to ask for permission. It's also impolite to use the improper form of it's. You should have had an apostrophe there. It is you're contracting. Just kidding. You can misspell it. I don't care. What is the best way to seduce a personality, and how might one use that? I'm assuming you misspelled and you mean deduce a personality. Yeah. Yes. Okay. You just corrected yourself. Yes. The seducing thing I don't have much experience in, but the deducing part I do. So, what is the best way to deduce a personality? Well, look at their mannerisms, look at their clothing, basically what their interests are, how they interact with people. It's pretty simple to get a broad understanding of a person's personality. Ah, you're on. Hello. Cool. How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Could you maybe like lower your camera so I can see you better? There we go. All right. That's good.
Better?
Yeah, that's better. All right. So did you want me to make deductions about you, or did you want to make deductions about me?
About me.
Okay, cool. So this is rather trivial, and I'm not sure it's correct, but I'm gonna say that you have a Windows computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I used to have Windows, and the built-in webcam was not the greatest, and I find that the MacBook webcams are a lot better. So that's how I got that one. Other than that, you have a poster on your wall of Spider-Man. It's one of the classical Spider-Man comic book covers. So obviously an affinity for not only the character of Spider-Man, but the lore probably bleeds over to a passion for the lore of comic books themselves. You have different items and knickknacks on your shelf. I can't see what they are, but it's a bit of a collector, but also a minimalist collector in the sense that you have decided exactly what you want and how you want to display it. It's not something that you're just accumulating aimlessly, but something that you have a passion for and enjoy and want to display. And Overwatch, that's a video game, isn't it?
Yes.
So you're a gamer as well, and things do tend to accumulate in your room. I see there's a red cup on your bookshelf in front of the books, so you're not the neatest, but there is also an orderliness to your room. So it's just things accumulate over time. Or perhaps that cup has a certain specific purpose based on your reaction. I see. Okay.
Yeah, I keep lint in it to light my
I see.
torch.
Okay, cool. So based on your complexion, you don't get a lot of time outside, which would be in line with your more reserved personality from what I'm getting with your vocal patterns and your posture, as well as the fact that you're into gaming and comic books. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. And so other than that, you're pretty stoked to be on the stream. And so I'm going to guess that you're a pretty avid viewer. I know you've contacted me before on various things. So you're not only interested in deduction, but you are very much trying to excel in it. It's not just a passing interest for you. It's something that you want to really dive into. Am I right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Also, trivial observation: you only have one earbud in right now. I find that when I'm talking on like a Skype call and I have earbuds in, it's quite awkward to have both earbuds in. The sound just doesn't seem right. So I'm assuming that's what it was for you. Either that, or you're listening for potentially someone to come into the room, and you want to be ready for that. Okay, so based on all this, your age is probably between 14 to 16 years old?
14.
14, cool. All right, so with that, do you want to say anything to the folks at home, ask me a question, make a deduction about me? What's up? No? Okay.
Really? No, not really. Oh,
okay. What's up? Yeah.
What could you deduce about my collection of movies?
Your collection of what?
Movies.
Movies. It depends. That would give me an insight into your interests, which might shed light on your personality, as well as perhaps the social circles you are in, as well as your parental preferences, as in like what kind of things your parents allow you to see, which would indicate home and upbringing, but not necessarily like the absence of R-rated movies wouldn't necessarily mean that your parents are against R-rated movies. You know what I mean? But like the presence of them would indicate specifically that your parents are quite liberally minded in the sense of not necessarily politically, but just in the raising of their child. They trust and trust you enough to be okay with that, and also are okay with that sort of content themselves. But this is all speculation at this point, since I can't actually see your movies.
You want to try?
Yeah, you can show me.
Let me see if I can get a picture. Can you read any of them?
No, I cannot, but I can tell that you're a fan of anime and comedy based on the One Punch Man poster. Fantastic anime, by the way. But I can't see the movies that you have, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and you're wearing a Marvel T-shirt, so further illustrating my point from earlier.
Yep. If you were to see them, there's a lot of Marvel movies and Doctor Who and Sherlock. So.
Oh, cool. From your accent, it seems like you have a little bit of a southern accent there. So I would say either you grew up in or you are currently living in the southern area of the United States. So like Texas, Georgia, Louisiana, that sort of area right there. Alabama. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. There is a specific differentiation. I grew up in Alabama, actually, so... well, I grew up there until I was like 6. Then I moved down to Florida.
Trying to get rid of it.
All right. So anything else you want to ask, or are we done?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Looks like Aaron is all set up for it now, so I will bid you adieu, good sir. Have a good day. Aaron, are you all set up now? Just accept the invitation and you can come on. Okay. Aaron, are you on? I can see your icon, but I cannot hear you nor see your video. All right, looks like... Okay, there we go. You on? I can't see your video. Hello? Looks like your audio is still off. Okay, there we go. I can hear you a little bit now. How's your internet connection? Okay.
Can you see and hear me now?
I can hear you. I can't see you. How's your internet connection? Okay, now I can see you.
It leaves some things to be desired.
That's a bit of an understatement. All right, I'll try. Yeah, I'll try and do my best with 120p resolution because you're basically still image right now. But okay, so let's see here.
Sorry about that.
We got some guitars in the background. Musically inclined, or is that a box with a guitar on it, or is that an actual guitar? I cannot tell.
Actual guitar.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, it's an actual guitar.
Okay, cool. So, musically inclined is an electric guitar. I think either that or it's an archtop acoustic. I'm gonna favor electric, but it's also got a classy look to it. Wait, no. Yeah, it is. It is an electric. Not only musically inclined, but also I would say probably into more contemporary things rather than classical guitar playing. So more like rock and roll sort of music. Is that the sort of thing you play?
I play both acoustic and electric, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is a major feature of interest in your room. So I'd say that's a big part of your interests and personal investments. So in the sense of the things you are interested in and invest your time in. It's hard to tell your age because the camera is super blurry, but you sound older.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. You have a certain level of confidence, so I'd say that you have you're more of a not necessarily super extroverted personality, but I would say at least ambiverted and okay with social interaction on a regular basis, and your complexion indicates some time spent outdoors, which not necessarily for work or anything, but more reflective of an active social life. But I could be wrong about that. Again, the quality of the image is not super great. but that's kind of all I'm getting right now. But do you have anything to add? Am I right on all that?
So you're right about most of that.
Okay.
Can you hear me all right on your side?
I can hear you now. What did
Can you hear me all right?
What did you get wrong? What did I get wrong? Sorry.
So you're a little wrong. Okay. So you're a little wrong about the extroverted part, but you're very right about the confidence, I would suppose.
Okay.
But, you were right about the whole musician thing. That's spot on.
Okay.
The complexion isn't actually because of social life, but actually of what I do musically. I'm in my local marching band, so I'm outside a lot.
Okay.
And I'm the conductor, so I get a lot of exposure outside. So that's kind of a consequence of that. But you definitely notice, like the whole complexion thing, and I guess the confidence from how I'm behaving, I suppose. So,
right. Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Any that you deduce from?
I'm gonna say.
I don't know if you can see what this image is. The quality might be bad.
I cannot. I'm going to say, though, based on the guitar, that you're right-handed. I believe it's a right-handed model.
You got that right, yeah.
Okay, cool. Who is that? Is that Thomas Edison? It's really hard to see.
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Sorry, the quality must be terrible.
You're good. So that is Thomas Edison, though?
Yeah. So that's Thomas Edison.
Okay.
Sorry, the quality must be bad. It must really not be helping the cause.
No, it's all good.
Sorry about that.
Limited means.
If you can't work out what this is because of the quality. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't know this connection would be so bad.
It's all right.
This is the space shuttle landing from 1969.
Okay.
Or it's not shuttle, excuse me. Moon landing.
Right. Yeah. The Apollo.
And I don't know if that would take you in being able to. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would indicate an interest in.
All right. Do you have any other?
Yeah. So those two posters would indicate not only an interest in science and technology, but also innovation. Both of those, both Thomas Edison and the moon landing are symbolic of innovation and creativity, not simply just cold science. So I would say that on top of being interested in technical areas, you are very much interested in the application of practically of those of the sciences and the more technical fields into a practical, innovative sense, which would make sense given that you are interested in deduction. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all. That's correct.
Okay.
The only thing that I guess I would say isn't, but you'd have no way to know would be. I'm actually going to major in theoretical physics or physics.
Ah.
So that's less applied, more theoretical, but you're totally right about the whole science and creating thing. I don't know if you can see what this is out of the corner. But so I have a little bit of experience with biology and.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't quite sure what that was. I did.
Yeah.
It kind of blended in with something that's further off in the background, but yeah, that's cool.
Low grade student, but
yeah, no. I would say based on all of this,
I'm sure the visual quality helps, but
right. I'd say based on all that, you're saying you're going to be majoring in something, so indicating that's going to be a future. So I'd say you are just graduating high school.
I'm in my senior year.
You're in your senior year. Okay. All right. Cool. So that would put you in between 17,
so it's coming
17
up
and
close.
18 years.
I'm like the same age as you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Sweet. Well, any questions you would like to
All right.
pose?
Could I make a couple deductions about you?
Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
Thank you. All right. So I guess I have a little bit of an upper hand. I have been watching your channel, so I hear a few things here and there that you say. So that it's a little bit of upper hand, but
it's fine.
I guess you have more experience, so I'll do my best. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So you wear a collared shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You so as someone who watches Sherlock, you may be inclined to want to, although you do not after Sherlock, you may be the kind of person to want to dress like him, but most people don't, because wearing such fine clothes on a daily basis in someone in high school or college on the young age is just inconvenient.
Right.
You know?
So what would you conclude about that?
Maybe you met somewhere in the middle and you're wearing a collared shirt. I would say that you, on a low-key level, do let the show influence you. On like a personal level, obviously you do. I mean, you're really in deduction, so I guess that goes together. I guess that goes without saying. So I guess that wasn't much of a deduction. That was just
right. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So you have a wooden desk in the background, and the wooden desk doesn't look like it's finished. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
You mean
maybe you built it, or maybe someone built it for you. Maybe there's someone in your family. Yeah, that desk. Yeah. So maybe either you or someone else likes to construct things on your own. You laid up that, what is that, sound foam around the walls of it, right?
Yes, this is actually from a Pelican case. It's not designed for sound absorption, but it does work for that purpose. So I designed this this little corner here to be my sound recording studio.
Nice. So you're totally putting things together. I guess you kind of have to be if you're going to spend all this time doing YouTube and stuff like that. So you're clearly the kind of person who's okay with doing something like where it's. So let's see. You read. You have your frog on there in the background. Okay, so perhaps the desk actually just fits with the rest of your room, because I see you also have another wooden thing of a similar complexion in the back of your.
Because you were right before.
Behind you, near I think what might be your bed.
Yes, this is my bed, and that's a nightstand.
What? Yeah.
You were right about this. It is. It was constructed by a close friend. But it does.
Trying to see if there's anything else I can work out.
I'll move out of the way.
Oh. Is that a tennis racket bag hanging from the wall?
No, it isn't. It is a focus target, which is a martial arts training tool. So someone will hold it up, and then another person will punch it. So if I were to take this,
martial arts,
hold it up like this, and the other person would punch it, and it trains focus. So you're trying to hit the target, which is quite difficult when you're kicking it. So.
Wow. So okay. So you also clearly have some muscularity. Like you either work out or you do some type of athletics in some degree. I can tell because like your arms like they're not thin like mine.
Right.
Maybe that comes from martial arts. Maybe you do that in tandem with the martial arts.
Yes. Part of this is my genetic constitution. I'm just a broad-shouldered, big guy. I don't work out as much as I should, but I just naturally bulk up. But I do work out semi-regularly. I haven't been doing martial arts in a while, but I do try and continue my training, even though I'm not in classes at the moment.
All right, so the last thing I'd say before I soak up too much of your time is so your complexion is generally light, but I guess usually what you notice is when they're not, when it's like consequence recently being outside and then within the last month or so having a tan and it goes away. You can see the difference between around the concave part of their eye and around their nose and mouth, because there's a differential there because of the angles of sun needing to hit it is so strange.
Right.
So I would presume that you did have at some point maybe got a tiny bit of sunburn within the last month or so.
I actually
and
mowed the
now
grass
it's faded
yesterday.
But I guess that kind of goes for everyone, being it's right after summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mowed the grass yesterday. And
yeah, I guess I don't have much to say. Was there anything I was wrong about?
No, that was pretty much all correct. Good job. Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Is there anything I missed that maybe you could have solved? Is there anything I missed that maybe I could have worked out?
If you see right here on the nightstand itself, you see something right here, what's clearly a book and a painting behind the nightstand. So most people don't just have paintings lying around unless the painting is not very valuable, which would usually be the result of, either the person themselves is a painter and they just paint a lot, and or they know someone who paints. In this case, this is my brother's painting, I just keep it in my room. Don't really hang it up because it's not one of his best works, but it's just nowhere else to put it. And the book by the table indicates that that's the book that I'm currently reading, and it's something that you pick up before you go to bed or when you wake up and you just start reading. That's usually what people do. So those are the only two other things that I really would have been able to get from that. But you did a good job, so congrats.
Thanks. I guess the painting goes in the family, right? Your brother paints. Do you paint?
I haven't painted in a while, but I do draw quite a lot. So, like this right here, drew this recently.
Oh, right. Yeah, you designed your logo, so you do have some artistic capabilities.
Yeah, we get it from our mom.
I guess that just goes in your family.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Well, it was a pleasure being on your channel.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Awesome. Are you still on? Found the.
Yeah, I think I am. Is there a way for me to hang this up?
Yeah, you have to press the hang up button.
Hey, by the way, thanks. Thank you for.
Thank you
for letting me on.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's been fun.
All right. Evening.
Have a good evening.
It's been fun. Yeah.
All right. So we got a few more people who want to come on. Hannah, okay. Hello. Hey, okay. So since it's not going through the stream at the moment, here, let me see my videos. Whoa, what's going on? Okay. Oh, wait, crap. All right, this is going to be awkward. Okay, you can? Can you hear yourself on the stream? Okay. Hang on. Hang up real quick and call me back. I'm going to answer on my phone this time, and I'm going to hold the phone up to the microphone. Sound good? Okay. Okay. So, can you hear me? Hello. Can't really hear you that much. Okay, cool. So can you hear yourself on the stream? I'm holding you right up next to the microphone. Okay, you can? Okay. So you wanted to make some deductions about me? Okay. Right. Right. I am in the central time zone, but I'm actually in Florida. Yeah, pretty good. Oh, look, you did well. You got this. It's all good. Okay. Yeah. Part of the saying and stuff is not necessarily due to social anxiety, but this is just for future reference. Part of it for me is social anxiety, but most of it is synaptic firing. So basically, when you're just thinking about a lot of things and trying to figure out the way in which you want to convey the information, saying and ah and those, I suppose you call them. I forget the word, but basically verbal fluff. It allows you to process the information that you're trying to convey and figure out exactly what way you want to say it. So that's usually what it is for me, but I will admit that sometimes I do get, stage fright and just start saying and ah, but for the most part on the streams, that's not the case. No, don't worry. Don't worry about correctness. I got a lot of the last ones wrong, so. Yeah, you're correct. I'm an INTJ. Nice. So is that all the deductions that you wanted to make? Yes. Anything else that you wanted to say? Okay. Well, it's been good having you on the stream. Sorry that was such a difficult thing to get to work. Okay, cool. So hopefully this everyone can hear you well. But thanks for coming on the stream. All right. Okay. Yes, it is a girl talking. Okay, we have a few more people who wanted to come on the stream. Sammy is Jimmy and Trina. Okay, so all right, we'll do a few more of these and then we're gonna call it quits for the night. It's all good. Hope everyone was able to hear. I tried raising the gain on the microphone. Sorry, my phone just wasn't doing it well. Wasn't outputting a lot of audio. Yeah, Wild Weasel. I don't have cauliflower ear, which for those of you who don't know, in martial arts, cupping of the ears, so like slapping people on the ears or just hitting in that area causes the cartilage in your ear to break, which doesn't. It's very hard to set cartilage back right because it's spongy. It's not like bone, so it'll heal improperly, and after a while, you'll just get this mangled looking ear. And so that's what's called cauliflower ear. So if you see someone with cauliflower ear, they probably have a history in MMA or something like that. Oh, you're on. Cool. And so that's what's called cauliflower ear. So if you see someone with cauliflower ear, they probably... Or do you have headphones?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am talking to you.
No, I don't have headphones.
Okay. Well, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. So I cannot see you. Can you turn on your video? Okay, cool, awesome. How are you doing today, sir?
Good.
All right. So did you want to make some deductions about me first, or did you want me to jump into making deductions about you?
I'm not much of a deductionist. I'm getting interested in it.
Okay, cool. Well, based on your facial hair and the fact that you're doing this out in an open room, not a bedroom, I'd say that you're an adult, probably mid-20s, and living on his own. You are, I'd say, a relatively successful musician, based on the multiple guitars as well as the general niceness of your lovely abode. There's a bed with no bedding right behind you, so this might be like a guest room or something. It's kind of in a limbo stage to where you're just kind of using this to put like guitar cases and other things on there. Based on your personal grooming habits, it looks like you have a pretty good level of upkeep. You keep your hair trimmed and your beard trimmed, which I'm told it takes a good level of upkeep to make sure it doesn't get all scraggly and whatnot. I don't know, but I've heard that's how it works. Anyway, so...
Close so far.
Okay.
I don't live alone.
You don't live alone, but you do. But it is your own home, right?
I own the house, yes.
Okay, cool. So,
it is a guest room, completely correct on that. I'm not a successful musician. I've written 30 songs myself. I just do it for me.
Okay, I see.
I record them with the mic here that you're listening to.
Yeah.
I actually have a girlfriend and a kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sleeping back.
Oh, I see. Okay. So so you own your own home, and you have your own family. So, but you're not a successful musician. So your music, as you said, is a hobby, but you have a different full-time job. So, based on your complexion, I'd say that is some sort of inside job, but I can't quite tell. The water dispenser in the home is an interesting touch. I haven't seen that in too many homes, but I can kind of see why. Just the whole getting water thing, it's not always easy depending on what type of fridge you have. Are those LED lights in the background?
Christmas lights.
Christmas lights. Okay.
Fireplace.
All right. Cool. Awesome.
Another clue on the bed there. Don't know if you can see it.
I'm sorry. What?
There's another clue on the bed there that might tell you something of what I do for a job.
Yeah, I noticed that it's more foreground from the guitar case, but I can't quite make out what it is. It looks like it has some sort of wires or cables attached to it, but it's kind of hard to make out the shape of it.
It's an HTC Vive.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do a Google search on that one. Hang on one second.
VR headset.
Oh, okay. So, VR headsets have a number of different applications, not just in video gaming and stuff like that, but also virtual reality has some different applications in like psychotherapy and stuff. But it doesn't seem like that's what the application that you have it for. Potentially game design or something similar to that. Okay, something related. All right. So, yeah, I still can't make out that it looks like a VR headset, but I'll take your word for that. All right. So that's pretty much all I can deduce from that. And Visions of the Future. That's an interesting title. Lifeboat Foundation. I've not heard of that. Is that I know titles can be misleading sometimes, and I don't want to judge a book by its cover. What's
futurists and scientists predicting, is the future. Ray Kurzweil's in there, one of my favorite.
Okay. So, interested in the application of science and technology and the not only that, but also the future of those fields and what we're beginning to understand and apply, which would go in line with the new innovations of the VR headset, and you're interested in that. So pretty spot on with that, I'd say. Maybe. Okay. All right. Anything that you would like to say to me, or questions or deductions or anything like that?
I've only actually recently started watching your videos.
Okay.
I've always been interested in deduction and Sherlock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doctor Who, of course.
Right. Yeah.
But I actually find it really interesting. I'm always a person that prides myself in trying to learn everything I can.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And deduction is just a wonderful tool to.
Yeah. So.
All around you.
Yeah. How have my videos been helpful in that to you? So thus far, have you found them to be?
Were you the one that did the street deductions?
No, that was my colleague Sharonford.
Holmes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I really enjoy those, as well as you're more the face-to-face explanation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I've done several videos like that, deducing people pictures of rooms that people send me. Not sure if you've seen those videos, but
very cool.
All right, so is that it?
I believe so.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the stream.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks. Okay. All right, Sammy's Jammy wants to deduce me, but he doesn't have a webcam, so I can't deduce him. All right, we'll try this, buddy. All right, just kind of catching up with the comments right now. Hey, if you missed the some of the deductions, it's okay. This video is going to be archived, so it's all good. So, Sammy, basically, there is a on the Hangouts chat box thing. There's a camera right at the top left. Just click on that, and it'll allow you to join the video call. Okay. There's a fly in here. Oh, looks like you're on. Your microphone's off, though.
Is that good?
Yes. All right. So you didn't want to have your webcam on, but you wanted to make deductions about me.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to focus the camera on me, so go for it.
Okay, first thing I'd like for you to do is, this might sound a little weird, but can I see what type of clothing you're wearing? So can you stand up, please?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to deduce that you live in, well, considering the time of year, it's around the beginning of September, so things should be turning to fall. So I'm going to deduce that you live in a southern region. I don't really have any idea. It can just be around the southern region of North America based off of your accent. I can assume that's where you're from. Mm-hmm. So also I'm going to assume that you have multiple siblings, but I'm also going to assume that you have older siblings and multiple siblings based off of how you've been acting. You show lots of leadership skills through how you're confident in your talking, but also you show a very laid back and open-minded approach, which is usually the case with very with kids in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're around middle child. If not, you have younger siblings.
I am the middle child. I have an older brother and a younger sister.
All right, awesome. Now I'm also going to assume that you are right-handed.
Yes.
Right-handed. I can tell that because also. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous.
You good? Don't worry about it.
I can tell that because the camera switches, it refracts. So also I can tell just by how you're looking in between the screen. I can just do it. I don't know how to explain it, but I know you're.
I understand. Intuition.
Yes, intuition. Right. I can also assume that you probably live in a very big house, considering that your siblings is not running into your room, and I don't hear them screaming anywhere. So since
my siblings are both out.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, my brother moved out, and my sister is with her dad at the moment. So it's actually not a big house. It's a medium-sized house. It's a decent-sized house, but not super big.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that I'm going to conclude from that you probably are a middle class as far as financial stability goes. But I think that's about all I can do. I really only study, when it comes to deduction, I study body language and how people approach things with their voice. So yeah. That's basically where my strengths are. I'm not very good at the physical stuff that you can see with deduction. But thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming on. Those are some pretty good deductions.
Thank you.
You got a future in deduction and psychology.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate it.
I just want to quickly just say thank you to Christian Alba for donating $10. Thank you so much. I didn't want to interrupt him while he was talking, but thank you. That means a lot to me. Really, it does, and I really do appreciate that. Christian, if you want to ask a question with that $10, please let me know. If you just wanted to donate, thank you so much. That's very much appreciated. Okay. Wow. So I am going to see. I think we're done. I think so. Wait a second. No. Okay. Blue Tango, I just invited you to the stream. Do you need imagination or logic to make a deduction? Do you need both? I have a Patreon, everyone. If like you want to donate, and I really do appreciate the super chat donations. Believe me. But if you do want to donate, otherwise, like not on a live stream, I do have a Patreon account. It's linked at the bottom of every one of my videos. So I believe we have one more person coming on. It's going to be Blue Tango, and as soon as he comes on. Then after him, I think we're going to be done for tonight. I'm kind of getting tired. You can probably tell that my earlier deductions were better than my later deductions. So. All right. All right. So, just waiting for Blue Tango to get situated. Okay, let's see some of the questions in the comments. Okay. Okay, Blue Tango is coming on, hopefully, soon. Sorry, guys, I know this is kind of dragging on for a while, but we're almost done. Oh, hello, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
You can't, no echo, is there?
Oh, sorry, what?
Is there an echo?
There is a slight echo, but it's not a big deal.
Right, cheers. Brilliant.
All right. Awesome. So Well, let's address the elephant in the room first. You got a Union Jack on your wall, and your accent clearly indicates that you're from the UK. It's hard. I'm not super well versed in the different accents within the UK, so I don't know necessarily what region you hailed from. But that bit was obvious.
All right.
Okay. So let's see here. It's obviously quite late for you, so you're not sleeping at the moment. So it's either a very strong interest in me and deduction, or a great desire to get on the stream that kept you up this late. Maybe also a natural insomnic tendency. Believe me, I can relate. So on that one, based on your reaction, I'd say it's
insomnia.
Yeah.
Can't sleep at night.
Gotcha. I'd say it's been about, I'm going to say, between 1 and 2 days since you last shaved, based on the amount of stubble that's accumulated. Sorry, what?
It's been about a week, yeah.
Been about a week, okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. So, other than that, you're wearing a sweater, so it's obviously a little bit cold where you are. Either that could just be the controlled climate within your house, or just the changing of the seasons happens a little bit sooner for you up in the north with the UK and everything than it does in the south for me in Florida.
Yeah, very cold at night.
Awesome. So you seem rather adept at social interaction. Slightly charismatic, so I'd say that you not necessarily extroverted, but have you're quite confident in social interaction, and don't allow any sort of social anxiety or anything to rule your mind, and you're quite capable of dealing with social occasions when they come, but not necessarily craving it. Would I be right on that?
Yeah, pretty much on. Yeah, I'm comfortable, but I don't go looking for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So based on the room itself, it looks somewhat.
Give you a little tour if you want, like just a little glance.
Sure. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Okay.
Excuse the mess.
No, you're good. So it looks like we had a guitar in the background. So I'd say, obviously you play guitar. Can I see the guitar one more time, actually?
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. I thought I could determine whether it was a right-handed or left-handed model, but I can't. But based on the fact that there are two glasses on the left-hand side of your desk, I'd say probably left-handed.
No, right-handed.
Right-handed. Okay. That. It's always a bit of a shot in the dark with those things. When you see one thing on the left or right side, you think, okay, could be
camera.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
I think it's just the angle of the camera where I've got it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So there is a thing in the background, and I've seen those things before. My grandmother used to have one. They're for air drying clothes, right?
Oh yeah.
And you obviously have a piece of laundry hanging on there. So I'd say based on the size of the room and the presence of that, I'd say you live in an apartment, and there is either the dryer just takes too much time, or there isn't a dryer that's easily accessible for you, so you wash your clothes but also hang dry them.
Yeah. I share a house with a couple of mates, and we don't have a dryer, so we have to use dryers. Okay,
so you're roommates with people, but it's not necessarily it's not a flat, it's a house?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just based on the general upkeep of the room itself, you're not necessarily super tidy, but at the same time, you don't just let yourself go. There is some method to the madness, but at the same time, your main living space is not something that's super tidy. So personality reflective of that is just one that's more focused on the day-to-day grind rather than the upkeep of the house. So I'd say a busy busy-ish life at least.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much what I'm getting from your room. As for you yourself, I'd say you're in your 20s, living with roommates and all that. So I'd say probably closer to early mid 20s, not late 20s. Sometimes it's hard to tell from the face.
21.
Sorry, what?
21.
21.
Yeah.
31. Oh.
21.
Okay.
20.
I thought you said 31 for a second. I was like, wow, way off. All right, cool. So,
I think that's it, mate.
Thank you. Complexion-wise, you don't. It looks like you've gotten a little bit of sun recently. Either that, or you're just flush from being on the live stream.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, indoor work. I'm sorry?
We don't get much sun here, so it's probably just the light.
That's right. I forget. Okay, cool. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I do believe your hands were calloused, right?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so some sort of manual labor job that includes a lot of working with the hands, or is that just...
Kitchen.
I'm sorry, what?
Work in a kitchen.
You work in a kitchen, okay. Interesting. All right. Well, would you like to make any deductions about me or have anything to say to the folks at home?
No, I'm terrible at it, mate, but thank you.
No problem, dude. Thanks for coming on the stream. Thanks for staying up this late, dude.
No problem. Cheers.
Okay, awesome. Mythic, you say you can do mad deductions, quote unquote. When you get mad, you're great at deduction, but in a control environment, you're not as good. That makes sense, and I'll explain why. Because we like to think of emotions as the antagonist to our reasoning, which they are if they get out of place. But emotions exist as a driving force of our conscious mind. So when you get mad about something, it's because something about what you're mad about is unfair. If you didn't have those emotional triggers, you wouldn't necessarily be motivated to do anything about it, to apply your body or your mind to the problem. So it makes perfect sense that that as long as you can manage your emotions somewhat well, that when you're mad, you make better deductions than when you're in a controlled environment. Because in a controlled environment, what might be slowing you down is the anxiety of being put on the spot. I find that happens to me sometimes. So. Okay, so this has gone on for quite some time. We have been going strong for 1 hour and 32 minutes. This has been lovely, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. But I do think we're going to have to bring this to a close now. I want to thank all of you who came on the stream. For coming, for staying up, and for humoring me and allowing me to make deductions about you. Thank you for those of you who made deductions about me. I think it was a great demonstration. I think you could tell that as the calls were going on that I started out strong, and then from each person to the next, I started getting a little bit weaker and weaker in my conclusions, and this is indicative of mental fatigue, as well as the fact that it's getting pretty late here. So not to make excuses, but this is just like a good talking point, a good learning point that mental stamina is a part of this skill set of being a brain athlete. You do have to have a strong mind. So it's all good. And thank you for the $10 donation from once again from Christian Alba. Thank you so much for that. Very much appreciated. And thank you all for sticking through the stream and for saying that I'm awesome. Thank you, Mythic. Thank you all. It's been such a pleasure, and I hope to see you all again soon. I'm working on a new video. I'm not quite sure when it's going to be out, but I think you'll all quite enjoy it. It's about what deduction is. It's more of a commentary on the mindset of deductionist rather than any specific techniques. But we'll get back into the techniques and stuff in those videos pretty soon. So thank you all so much for watching, and going to sign off for now. So thank you all aspiring detectives for watching, and arrivederci and good night.